Hi, Leather Rokk here. Welcome to my channel. Oh, I'm doing it the lazy way now. I am still live from Resorts International Hotel Casino in Atlantic City. Only now, instead of doing the turnaround, I'm doing it from the bed. Because I'm kind of pissed off, and I think you know why. After 4 hours, the internet connection was cut off, and I don't know why, because I don't usually have problems with the hotel casino Wi-Fi. Usually when I have Wi-Fi problems, it's my home Comcast. They're being doofuses. But no. 4 minutes into the last live stream, and I don't normally repeat on the same day, but I have to talk about this stuff. I think that when you're dealing with half the country is very disappointed. Which half is up to you to decide. I'm a Trump supporter. You guys know that. The election was stolen. But if YouTube is going to have even more rules and regulations for us content creators, and they're going to say that there's things that we can't talk about, and I'm sorry, but that is flat out unconstitutional and wrong. The election was stolen. You can't tell me there isn't enough evidence to suggest that. I don't care how many lawyers President Trump has that for whatever reason have not been able to adequately establish proof of all the election irregularities, all the dead people voting, all the people getting ballots uh, assigned to various permutations of their names, family names, maiden names, whatever. So now we have this system of strikes that if we mention things about election fraud, we can get strikes on our channel, and then after 3 such strikes, our channels get taken away. There is this constant growing threat of being deplatformed. And since so many of the tech companies are basically owned by these liberal bastions of wokeness, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, the Jeff Bezos of the world, that can actually not only deplatform the President of the United States, will actually make it so that you cannot do business with your banks, you cannot take advantage of the basic services that are now considered to be utilities. What they're doing to President Trump is nothing short of harassment. And if it can happen to him, it can happen to any one of us. And so now it comes back to YouTube and the subjects that we apparently are not supposed to talk about. Who gives anybody the right to tell any of us what we cannot talk about? I can't speak for all the YouTube content creators out there. I can only speak for myself. But I am a bit of a student of human nature, and I know about some of the basic needs that human beings have. And among those basic needs are the needs to be heard. And I really miss the days when YouTube's slogan was broadcast yourself. And that was the beautiful thing about YouTube. YouTube lowered the playing field, leveled it, so that anybody with some kind of a camera of any kind and an internet connection could make videos and communicate with the world. You could be in a remote village in Africa, you can be in a very prosperous, big metropolitan area, and your voice could be heard and shared with the world. In America, the freest country that's ever been created, and we have this beautiful Constitution. And now, as a result of, or in spite of this election, now we are not allowed to express our sincere concern about the faith in the electioneering process. People all over the world are looking at the United States of America. They're watching. The world is watching. It's pretty embarrassing when we're having world leaders that are looking at us and looking what's happening, and almost all these countries have existed far longer than the USA. Okay, Israel has only been with us maybe 60 some years, 50 some years. I'm sorry if I don't have the exact facts and figures on that. And the biblical scholars can argue that the state of Israel has actually existed for thousands of years. Okay. And anybody who knows me, I'm an extreme Zionist. I love the state of Israel. I love them politically. I love them for sentimental reasons. And President Trump is a great fan of the state of Israel. Come on, look what he did for Jerusalem. Jerusalem should be the capital of uh, Israel, and it also should be where the embassy is. That always made sense. And it's funny that President Trump was the first president to make it a reality. I think other presidents may have talked that they thought it would be nice to do, but he's the only one that could pull it off. Isn't it funny? But yet, to the mainstream media, nothing Trump ever did would be right. If he cured cancer, they wouldn't give him credit for it. And now we, small time YouTubers, are once again given restrictions on what we can communicate to the world. That is very troubling. It's bad enough that you sometimes will constrict what you communicate because you don't want to offend potential sponsorship. You don't want to offend people so that you'll get less subscribers and less viewers. There's another thing to feel that you really can't communicate your truths because you will be deplatformed. 3 strikes, you're out. There's a reason why I don't have a radio playing in the background. I don't want a copyright strike. 3 strikes and I'm out. But now if we also have to watch political speech, half the world, half the country, over half the country is very disappointed, very disgusted at what happened with the election. There are so many people that say that they don't think that they will ever want to vote again because they don't think that their vote counts. And we deserve to be able to have faith in our electioneering system. When people are raising their children, aren't all the kids taught in school how great our system is? Our system is not perfect, but it's the closest thing to perfect we have. There are people who believe that it was actually not something that humans could have invented. There are some people that believe it was divinely inspired. Now, I love our flag. I love our country. I love the potential of America. I love the promise of America. I love the proof of America. The contributions that Americans have given to the world cannot be equal by any other country. I mean, sure, we may not have created some of the 7 wonders of the world. Well, we didn't create them. I mean, they were created. Those religious people might say, "Oh, God created them." I mean, how did we get the Grand Canyon? Those are natural things that happen, but and that's something that I haven't seen yet. I was going to see that when I crossed the country, when I drove my car across the country to move to California. And I do regret not taking the extra day to see it. And that's something I do plan to see. But as a YouTuber, I care about being able to be free to say what I want to say. If I have a truth that I want to share with the world, I should be able to say that. I should be able to communicate my concerns and my fears and my hopes and my dreams, just like any of you. And is it because I have a camera in front of me and I have an internet connection that makes me somehow dangerous? So maybe there are things that I shouldn't say? And if so, why? And if so, who's threatened by the things I want to say? That's what you have to think about. I really hope that there are some lawyers that get on those new rules and regulations and maybe see if something can be done so that the freedom of the YouTube content creators can be restored. I just don't think it's right to muzzle people. If people are feeling less faith in the election process, they have a right to. When you see that it looks like there's going to be a landslide victory, people go to sleep and then they wake up and find out that polls closed before closing time. They stopped counting ballots. Then all of a sudden, all these ballots came in and they were 98% for Biden. Come on. And no matter how many times somebody shows videotaped evidence of some kind of election fraud, such as stolen ballots, such as the fake ballots, and no matter how much proof that some lawyer gives, no matter how much videotaped evidence is provided, that's not good enough. That's not enough proof. That's not enough evidence. The Supreme Court does not see enough evidence. All these lawyers, President Trump, with all the money he has, don't you think he can afford the best legal counsel in the world? Why weren't they able to effectively prove the election fraud that we know damn well happened? And now some powers that be in YouTube don't want the content creators talking about this. And it's like on Facebook now, you can't use the phrase "stop the steal." But the election was stolen and we're not allowed to talk about it? No. And to those of you who are thinking, okay, that's just a new rule and we have to obey it, are you just going to blindly accept your rights being taken away from you? Please give it some thought. This is not like the mask controversy. I choose to wear the face mask because I choose to protect myself and I choose to protect other people. Most of the mask wearing I wear tends to be the N95s that give the best possible protection. So, and I don't think it's something that should be politicized. I don't think people should be made to feel guilty for the desire to protect themselves, especially if they're availing themselves of the highest quality, especially if they're using something that really works. You should do things knowing why you're doing things. You should do things because you feel that it really is going to protect you, and not just doing things because you think that you're doing this virtue signaling. You're doing this thing that looks like you're giving lip service to the thing. So much what I see around me are people wearing masks just so that they can get on the bus and get in the store. But other than that, they really don't care. I keep on doing my research and I just try to do what I think is best to protect myself and other people. It's just the same way that I approach my voting. I vote because I care, and I vote because I really want to vote in the person that I think is best for the job. That's why I think most people vote out of sincerity. But if you can't trust the election process, that is a problem. And if YouTube doesn't want us to talk about it, that is a problem. I can't help but feel that YouTube is increasingly being a platform that does not really value absolute free speech. And if that means that I'm going to have to broaden my corners of cyberspace, then I guess I will do so. But I am not planning on abandoning YouTube. I may ultimately get kicked off of it, but I'm not going to abandon YouTube. My first love kind of is YouTube. And I am not going to abandon the subscribers and the viewers that I've come to know in my live streams and through the comments. I want to be able to continue to provide value to the people that watch me, whether it's value in entertainment, whether it's in providing information. I want to be that thing. And I can only be that thing as long as I'm allowed to. if I'm not given the freedom to impart the information that I need to, then I will have no choice but to find safe harbor elsewhere. But I will do my best to stay on here and to keep in touch with you as best I can to let you know where I will be if they do decide to kick my Trump loving ass off of YouTube. So now I don't understand why, if I'm still broadcasting, I see nobody in the chat. It really would be nice if somebody would weigh in and let me know that you're out there. It almost seems like I'm not sure that people are out there, but I do see something in my diagnostics to indicate I do have viewers. Hello, all right. Now I know that at least I am broadcasting. I still like to know what's up with the resort's Wi-Fi. It just seemed really weird that after having pretty much seamless performance, for it not to work during the middle of a live stream just seemed kind of odd. The country is really on edge right now. And I still feel like we're all waiting for the shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop. I haven't seen anything of a political nature going on here in the city. And I wouldn't lie to you and say that I wouldn't be tempted to travel to Trenton if they wanted to do something. But that said, it looks like half the world's expecting us to act up, and we're not the ones that are causing trouble. So, I don't know. What are we going to do if they keep on clipping our wings with respect to the free speech thing? So, this is probably going to be affecting a lot of YouTube content creators. And I would guess that only a certain percentage of those content creators are going to be able to get legal counsel and get some good advice on it. I'm going to do the best I can to speak freely as far as politics goes. I don't take well to having my wings clipped. I think that sometimes the best way to hold on to one's constitutional rights is to recognize that they are constitutional rights and that they should be loved and they should be respected. And sometimes you have to fight for them. I think that was the point of what happened on the 6th of January, is for all the exuberance and the passion that is part and parcel of a political march. Even though I wasn't there, I really wanted to be there. And if it weren't for COVID-19, I would have been there. That was really the main reason why I wasn't there. But people go to events because they're passionate about them. And when people are increasingly being made to feel helpless and hopeless, and voting at least is the one thing that you can do to make your voice heard. And if the integrity of the voting process is not sure, it's not assured, and if there are too many ways to commit acts of fraud, I mean, there are so many, every state has a different way of voting. And I think it's high time that they have a standardized voting system and definitely not allow any more mail-in voting except for the absentee voting. But sometimes it really gets complicated when you have states' rights versus federal rights thing. It's true with the marijuana situation. We have, 15 states now are legal in the state of New Jersey? And then you have a conflict between federal and state. I remember when they were doing the raids in dispensaries in the state of California, and that was done because still federally marijuana is considered illegal, and yet some states it is fully legal, like New Jersey, like fully legal. I'm so glad. And it's not going to be, we're not going to have What is the history of my hat? Oh, I'm glad you asked. This hat my father and I bought together. There used to be a store on the mainland, about 10 miles on the mainland from Atlantic City. It used to be called Party Poopers, and it was a party goods store. You could buy decorations of all colors for birthdays and all the holidays and stuff. And I was getting ready to go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for Ben Franklin's 300th birthday. Now, for those of you who are curious, you can go onto my MySpace page, and I have a political photo album. They call the photo albums mixes, and it's called American Images, I believe. And well, on the 300th birthday of Ben Franklin, they had a big to do in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. One of the many things that Ben Franklin is known for is he's the first postmaster. He started our post office, and matter of fact, it was called Benjamin Free Franklin Post Office. And so I thought that it would be absolutely wonderful if I had a tricorner hat to wear for that. And so my father took me to that place. And by the way, the place has a different name now. The name now is called Frome a Party, Frome. The lady's last name that runs the place is Frome. And she and her family bought out Party Poopers, and they now have it. So this hat has very serious sentimental value. I especially considering that was a time in my life when my father and I had this kind of weird dynamic. He never liked my garter belts, okay? And I guess I shouldn't be too shocked that a father of a certain age wouldn't be fond of certain aesthetics and stuff. But that said, the day that he and I went to buy this hat, it was in the summertime, and summertime, I'm not going to be wearing trousers. Why would I? But went on the bus, he got this hat, and when I went to the birthday celebration in Philadelphia, I got some first day issues. I got some other stamps. I got took a bunch of pictures, walked all around the area of Philadelphia that is known as the Old Town or the Old City. You've got your cobblestone streets, and you have this one place that they said that they have a whole lot of war dead from the Revolutionary War era, like a pauper's field. And they have one that's it's the tomb. It's kind of like a tomb of the unknown soldier, but it's the grave of the unknown Revolutionary War soldier. And hey, Emmanuel, speaking of my Democrat friends, there's a Democrat that watches my stream. So I guess I'm living like you right now, huh? I've got this fancy casino bed, very clean bed, nice firm mattress. Doesn't have a whole bunch of my clothes piled on it. Doesn't have a bunch of cat hair. Not that I let cats on my bed anyway, but not that I say that there's anything wrong with that. I just know kitty paws go. So, Emmanuel, what do you think of YouTube trying to control some of our political speech? Do you think that's right? I mean, how can anybody be harmed by somebody making a YouTube video expressing concern about their faith in the election? Who is that hurting? Do you think any little YouTuber has any kind of power of persuasion to control how people vote? That's silly. It was, what was not fun today, though, is I don't like carrying a big, heavy coat because it's kind of bulky and stuff. And anyhow, I dropped the damn thing 4 times. So then I decided I'm not carrying a coat around today, and I'm walking up and down the boardwalk. And Yeah, people should be able to express themselves. Plus, you learn about people through letting them be free and speak. And there's no reason why people shouldn't be able to be friends even though they have different views politically. But sometimes it gets hard. I feel bad lately with my mother. She watches Comcast has these on-demand YouTube news videos that even if you don't have your service on, they allow you to watch news clips and things. But I noticed that they really do restrict the perspective uh, of which you get exposed to. Like my mother, the things she watches, it seems like it's 95% Democrat, 95% anti-Trump. Yeah, YouTube has gotten stricter and stricter and stricter. And I think it takes some of the excitement and spontaneity and the charm and the magic out of a channel when you have to be so careful. You can't just relax and go with the flow because you're concerned that if I bring up something or I say this thing that's going to offend this person, and if you're always worrying about is the other shoe going to drop or something like that, you can't totally relax and get into the flow. People need to be free. People need to feel safe. People need to just be able to be who they are. And restricting the kind of speech that the person says, no good can come of it. I will, you know what, when I will watch the rebroadcast of this, and Citizens United, that's about the separation of church and state, right? And by the way, I kind of believe I'm on their side with that. It's very dangerous when government gets involved in religions because then you say, okay, which religion is government going to get involved in? I believe in religious liberty, certainly, as long as your religion doesn't say that in order to follow that religion, you have to discriminate against another person. If my religion, say I belong to a blah, blah, blah religion, and say my religion said that in order for me to pray to my deity, I have to punch you in the face, you wouldn't put up with that. So I don't believe in such thing as moral equivalency. And maybe you won't if I throw this by you. Would you invite a cannibal to go stay with you for Christmas? Oh, I thought Citizens United was about separation of church and state. No, I do. And I think that there's also something about whether a preacher should be able to talk about politics from the pew. And I know that could be complicated because, on one hand, you should be able to say anything you want. But then, on the other hand, can you tell your people, oh, I think you should vote for this person. I think you should vote for that person. But then again, I could see where sometimes people do think that things are very well cut and dried on a morality standpoint, where they feel that because their religion is very serious about certain sins, and so if you are doing things that are against my religion, then it's like you can tell people, you can give people suggestions on who to vote for, but if you do it from the church, then that can risk your tax exempt status. But personally, I think the churches should be taxed. Think of all, I mean, why so many of them are doing things that are influencing. That's right, separation of church and state. Now, then there's always going to be the purists that'll say, that if you want to get technically speaking, nowhere does it say anything in the Constitution that church and state are separated. But I thought it kind of implied that. And then, of course, with the separation of powers so that nobody can really have too much power over the other. But it seems like that's kind of been thrown out the window with some of the things that the Democrats have been doing. I don't know. I can't feel that it is really completely guaranteed. It's just, I don't know. There's just, with all the corruption that's going on now, I don't feel that we really have the full on separation. I don't know if it's totally possible. But now, I don't know. I still think that we have to get to the bottom of safeguarding our voting process. We have to find a way to make sure that they don't stop counting ballots and then 5 or 6 hours later, all of a sudden, ballots coming in and things. There's just so many things that didn't make sense there, and people getting away with things. I don't know. I think that we're heading for very dangerous territory if you're going to really be that strict about the kind of content people can and cannot make. And how they think they can get away with somebody expressing sincere concern about the election process. That you can't deplatform somebody for that. And I would guess that when that starts to happen, there's going to be some really high profile suits. You know, a legal fight like that, you really takes time and money to work on. And it's very stressful. Anybody that's been in any kind of legal fight, any kind of litigation, it's very stressful. Even if you're trying to get some kind of justice with bad people, it's no lie when they talk about the wheels of justice turning slowly. Yeah. So, us Trump supporters, I'm telling you, there. I know that there are a whole lot of people that are very angry at us, but I do think that what Antifa and Black Lives Matters did not help. The people pretending to be us, doing things in our name, that is really kind of messed up. That said, I don't think the FBI should be going and tolerating or targeting people just because they were kind of near where something happened. If you can't prove that somebody hopped a fence and actually was trespassing or something, then you shouldn't be messing with them. But I understand that a lot of people have gotten caught after what happened. Really kind of glad that I didn't make it. But that said, people have serious convictions about something. If it's something they really believe, they should be able to express themselves. And I think it's so morally wrong to be trying to control what people say. Uh, I'll have to look for it when I get back to my crappy little ghetto neighborhood. I will have to get on that. I'm really worried about untangling the back of my hair tomorrow. I really want to get on that. Once I get the back untangled, I want to then take these out, untangle that. Then and only then will I be able to wash my hair. I've been doing things with rubbing alcohol. I'm staying at resorts. And one thing that I'm very impressed with how well lit the bathroom is. I was able to do 2 makeup tutorials in it, and that's what the video that I was going to post today was going to be, a makeup video. But then I decided, why the hell don't I just do a live stream? And I thought it would really be cool. I wasn't expecting that I would have any problems with the. Yes, it is nice. Seems to be on the top floor. One thing I screwed up, I did bring a little something to inhale. Much less than I thought I had, though, unfortunately. And it wasn't until after I did a little inhalation, then I saw this little sign saying that there's a $250 cleaning fee. But fortunately, the evidence dissipated. I was trying to do this trick where you blow the smoke through a very tightly held uh, a roll of toilet paper. You hold that real tight up against your mouth and you blow real hard, and the toilet paper roll acts like a filter. And if you do it right, you shouldn't be able to smell it at all. One of my aunts used to be a chambermaid. Uh, you know what I'm ready for? If he makes marijuana legal on a federal level, and if he does something to make sure that Roe v. Wade can never be taken away, I'd be very happy about that. And I will say this. Say he gets his 4 years in, and I hope he's healthy. Say I get eligible for some kind of presidential Medal of Freedom award. I'm not going to be an asshole and refuse to go to the White House because of how I feel about the current occupant. I will give respect to the honor of whoever holds the presidency. I believe in the honor of the office holder. The office is worthy of respect. And I will not diss Biden. I will not tell him to go fuck himself. I will not be rude. Now, who I'd really like to give my words to would be the VP. She's the one I really have a lot of problems with. But, and it seems to me that he was not as hardcore environmentalist as the Green New Deal people would want. But still, it seems to me that with the temperament, what I understand of Joe Biden's temperament, that it would be too easy for him to be intimidated into following the party platform. And with those young people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and it's a good thing she's too young to run for president. You got to be at least 35 according to the Constitution. But the extreme hard left, because this is not the Democrat Party of 30, 40 years ago. I used to be a Democrat, okay? But, and that said, the fact that some of my positions are not shared by maybe the majority of my Republican brethren. I mean, I've never been one for conformity anyway. But I guess all we can do now is wait and see what actually happens. I heard so many unflattering things about her that I don't know that I even want to say. You know, things like supposedly she slept to the top and stuff. And the thing is, I don't believe in slut shaming. I would not like to do that to another female. I would not want to do that to a male. I don't want to get into seeming to create moral value judgments. But that said, if she was in a position where she was able to send people to jail and to prison for drug charges, and now she wants legalization. And meanwhile, there's people that are probably sitting in prison right now that when she was, now what was she before? I don't remember exactly what her position was, if she was a prosecutor or what, but if you used to be able to send people to jail, and now you're talking about how, oh, people shouldn't go to jail for a plant, can you really trust her? I don't know. And this whole idea of people calling her black, she doesn't seem black to me. Well, I was a Democrat. I just, and I can't call myself an independent, because to me, independent just isn't really anything. And I don't think that third parties are really valid. They just seem to make it harder for the two main parties. I mean, look what happened when Ross Perot was running. And he actually had quite a healthy percentage, but that ends up really throwing the election. A lot of times when you vote for third party candidates, then the person who you really don't want has a better chance of coming in. Let's see if I can show that view. I don't know very well how to get rid of the glare. I'll try. Let's see if I can show you guys anything. You see this at all? Marina, way back there. And the ball of the ocean keeps changing. See, maybe it'll change while we're looking at it here. Hard rock. Let's see if I see. Yeah, very high. If you don't like heights. Oh, and a couple hours ago, I got to see a helicopter come off the, that's the helipad there. If you see, and he floated straight up, and it was really cool. Oh boy, I'll close this. So yeah, I'm going to show the view of the bathroom. I don't know if all the bathrooms look like this, but this is the bathroom. Let's go. And this is what the looks like. And I can show the hallway. But I'm sticking my foot in so I don't. Am I a ghost? I'm pretty sure I'm alive. Yeah. I'm alive. I believe I'm alive. I got my flags. And I've got my and beads are falling out of my hair. Crap. That's right. Keep America great again. Oh, and you're a Ghostbuster? So should I be scared, Emmanuel? Hi, Char. How you doing? Well, do you think that the women who voted for Hillary because they were supporting women? It's not that I wouldn't want a female president. I think uh name slipping, Condoleezza Rice, I think would be a great president. No, I don't like Kamala Harris. I think she's absolutely dangerous. How can you have been a former prosecutor sending people to prison and to jail for drug offenses? And most drug offenses tend to be nonviolent offenders. And they are then now she's joking about smoking weed. And I mean, and I'm a weed head myself. I love weed, okay? But how can you be sending people to jail and to prison for drug offenses and then say that drugs should be legalized and joke about getting high and stuff? And there's people that are listening to her that are probably listening from radios in jail or something. And I didn't stay at Caesars because my friend didn't get a room at Caesars. That's why. But I mean, I was there today throughout. I filmed footage throughout today and yesterday that I'm going to edit, I guess, in the next couple of days. So, because I didn't decide exactly what I was going to post today until the last minute. I decided that I thought a live stream would be better than one of the makeup videos that I'd already done. Because I really, really, really wanted to talk politics tonight. I mean, especially with all the stuff that's been going on with the YouTube's ever-changing rules and regulations. They are getting stricter and stricter with us. And it's not fun, but it's just the way it is. It's they keep on moving the goalpost, basically. And, oh, damn it, I'm losing beads. And I'm just going to be taking these out. I have to take all this out tomorrow morning. You see how tangled this is? If I don't get this untangled very carefully, I can't wash it. You can't brush it. Nobody can help you. And I have to be very gentle with it so that it doesn't break off. I'm not willing to shave my head. I'm not willing to go short. Maybe that's some people's thing. That's just not mine. So, but I hope that I can use all the footage that I got. There's so much ambient music in the background. I got to spend some time in some of the players' lounges. I was in Laurel Lounge, and there the music was very quiet. So I think that the footage would be pretty good there. But well, okay. Deep conditioners sometimes have a bad habit of leaching the hair dye out. I noticed, like Pantene, for some reason, the Pantene shampoo, I noticed that seemed to leach color out. I noticed that when I was living in San Francisco. I tried that, but the hair has to be totally untangled before it gets wet. And the thing is, I kept these in a real long time, especially the main one braid in the back of my head, the friction in the back of your head when you sleep, you know. I had started putting braids in on for my birthday. My birthday is election day. And as everybody knows, the election whole fiasco ended up being this complicated, fraudulent, uncomfortable thing. So next day I wake up and I realize, oh, things are not looking that good. And anyway, I stopped putting braids in my hair, and I did have some beads in it. And as they started falling out, I just took them out. I added more braids to my hair, but prior to this weekend, I just didn't bother. Partly because this COVID. Come on, the COVID-19. Nothing that anybody wants to do is safe. It's the social distancing thing totally sucks. You know, and sometimes after a couple of months, you don't think too clearly, and you go and hug that friend, and you go and shake that hand, uh, and I try to really manage my risk, and I try to be responsible. I have to think of my mother. She's 79 years old, and I can't risk getting her exposed to this. But there have been times when it's been so many months since I had had non-video screen contact with a friend that it's easy to forget that certain things are dangerous, and then you go and get that hug, and it's like, oh man, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But it's not a natural state of mind for human beings to be so isolated. Are you Emmanuel? Are you asking me that? No, I didn't. Especially if that's the one that you say was $30. Oh, that speaking of Gordon Ramsay, couple of days before this weekend, I was walking around and I did notice that there was a couple of people there. Obviously, it was before 10 o'clock at night, so there was a little bit of indoor seating, but I did actually notice there was only maybe 5 or 6 people there, but I did notice that they were there. But so much of the casino was so dead. But it was nice today and yesterday. It was nice seeing it. There seemed like there was a good amount of people here in resorts, and it seemed like there was a nice amount of people in Hard Rock today. I was there briefly, and I was in resorts, and I was in Caesars, and I was in Bally's briefly. I cannot get used to how Bally's Wild Wild West, the Mountain Bar, normally where the dance floor is, and they would have like cover bands and DJ, and now instead of a cover band, they have like little trios, acoustic acts, and they have some benches dispersed over where the dance floor was, and it's all done, I guess, to find a way to have to have it as safe as possible for the people. But anyway, oh, I'm showing this in case nobody has seen it. I didn't get this today. This is something I had that I brought here to give to somebody. And anyway, that's why it's here. So, yeah, I hope that I don't get into trouble with YouTube over today's subject matter, but since I'm talking about these rule changes, I don't think that talking about a rule is the same thing as breaking a rule. So, but yeah. Anyhow, I also thought that it would be cool to live stream from the casino instead of, because I like to give a change of scenery. Now, is that burger $30? Because that's my channel's cool. If that was directed to me, well, then thank you. Because I know that as a YouTuber that's not niched down, growing for us is slower because you can't be all things to all people. And I'm not trying, but I can't limit myself to just one or two subjects. I am more complex than that. I have obvious political interests, but I have these other interests like my pot smoking and my cats and and it's bad enough that with the weed you have to be really careful, that I've had a couple of my videos been made given the age restriction. Um well, thank you. See, that's the thing, is I know that I would like to think that I do a lot of things. I put a lot of things together that people don't normally do. I think that and I do try to find novel ways of presenting things. Like when I do a makeup tutorial on the beach, that's not normally an environment where you find those things. Or the day when I went to go and I was expecting a special bathroom was going to be open. I was going to do this makeup tutorial. And here I didn't realize that they closed them after midnight. So I had no choice but to go into Gold Tooth Gertie's, which is right at the base of where the escalator goes up to Caesars and it ends in Bally's. And I was also walked through Tropicana a couple days ago because I live very close to the boardwalk, so it's very easy for me to go there. But the thing is with Tropicana, unless they're doing it now, they hadn't been doing any temperature checks, and I really like it when somebody at the entrance to a casino hits me with a thermometer or something. Yeah, my lack of a filter gets me in trouble sometimes, but like I sometimes forget and I say F-bombs in front of my mother, and my mother acts like she's been wounded if I say the word fuck. My mother, I love her. I don't mean any disrespect to her, but people can't go and change their personalities. It would be like expecting President Trump to be all like a blushing bride, sweetness and light, delicate, uh, tiptoeing over his words. He's not going to change. He's not going to turn into that. So don't expect it. People are who they are. Next to Carla, now you mean a Tropicana? Because there's that Cuban place, Cuba Libre, is really. I don't think it's next to Carmine's. It's really close to it, but that's in Tropicana. I mean, you are talking about Tropicana, right? Because I don't know if Carmine's is in any other place but Tropicana. Yeah, I think Carmine's is very close to Cuba Libre. Yes, and then there was this Chinese restaurant too, and I don't mean P.F. Chang's. Wasn't there this other one besides P.F. Chang's, or is it only P.F. Chang's that's there in the quarter? And that reminds me, I have a cash out slip that I gotta take to Tropicana anyway. But and another thing, sometimes another thing casinos are good for. One of the ways that I use to save is I like to have my cash in the biggest denominations possible. And I figure if I have cash in $100 bills, it's less tempting to spend because you have to break it. And a lot of stores don't trust $100 bills because they think that you're going to try to pass counterfeits on them. So, but if you save your money through using the largest denominations possible, then it doesn't take up as much bulk. So that's one of the reasons I really like C notes. But but say the bank doesn't have anything bigger than a 20, you can always get the denominations you want in a casino. And also, casinos are good places to break bills. And like, if say I know I'm going to be getting on the bus to go to Washington, D.C. or something, a lot of times I do stop in the casino first because that's how I either get the big bill or break it. And also, since some places still have the coin shortage, I think that the coin shortages are I think they're finally taking care of it now. You guys know that what started the coin shortages was due to COVID. They didn't have people showing up to work at the US Mint. So those days that they were supposed to be making the coins to put them into circulation, I guess I don't know how many days in a row it was that they weren't able to do that. But that is why some stores are actually using that as an excuse to say they can't give out change. And some people are in enough of a hurry to get out of the store that they're okay with that. And supposedly, even some places, people were actually too lazy to take their coin uh, pay slip to the cashier. If they can't just get it, turn it in the kiosks. So it's like anything else. This COVID situation has everything screwed up. Yeah. You mean while I'm live streaming? Yeah. You know what?
Let's do it.
I have an opportunity to walk while we're doing this. Do you want to
Take a walk?
go with me? But you know what? That means I'm going to have to put the mask on because I don't want to break any rules because I'm not a rule breaker. Not me, not Leather Rokk. Leather Rokk doesn't break rules.
What's going on Saturday night?
It's Saturday night, and when it's Saturday night, let's see. Which one? Should I do this one or should it be this one? In real life stream. I try to be as real as it's safe to be. And I'm not going to say that I don't have a few secrets that only some friends know, but I will be as honest as I feel it's safe to do so. And if there's anything that I ever withhold from people, it's only because I'm afraid that if you know everything, you're going to like me less and I'm going to lose friends and fans. And I don't want to do that. So that's the only reason why I would ever withhold anything from you. But I'm going to let go myself. Well, or I'm going to virtual signal, or I'm going to protect myself, or whatever reason you think I'm wearing a mask. Actually, I am trying to protect myself, but these are real flimsy and they're probably not going to help me any. But you know what? My hair is so tangled. I probably won't. I'm messing around here, you guys. I am. Well, here I got to do this in front of the mirror so you guys can see what the hell I'm doing here. Oh, that's not going to stay.
No.
No. Hey, you think it'll?
There you go.
You think it'll stay?
There you go. Welcome top.
Okay. Wait a minute. Should I bring something with me at all? Oh. You know what? No. This will draw too much attention. Unless maybe I should. Are we going out at all? Oh, in the casino. Okay, so I don't have to worry about. You know what? Should I hold this in my hand? Yeah. Okay. She'll hold. Oh, do you want them to? You want them to see you so that? Oh, you don't want to be seen?
Okay.
Is it you don't want to be seen, or you? Oh, okay. Oh, all right. All right. Well, oh, the palm. I have never been in those rich people's places. I mean, not that I'm not going. Not that I don't aspire to success. Okay, I'm going to whisper a little bit because I'm walking down the hallway here.
You can show some art.
And there's people that probably don't want to hear my voice because they're in their hotel rooms. And maybe they're getting ready to do a little kissy face and they don't want to hear my annoying my voice that does not sound. Oh, this is the non-smoking level. And yes, I did smoke weed earlier, but you can't smell it because it's gone. And I wish that I had some weed. I'm totally out. I thought I brought enough.